This podcast is produced by the Harwood Productions Podcast Network. To learn more about the network and to find more of our shows, visit us online at www.harwoodpodcast.com.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and in this episode I'm going to share with you my recipe for cheese biscuits. One of the things I love about this biscuit recipe is they go together really quickly and they go great with any kind of soup or stew. Now to get started, I'm going to be putting all my dry ingredients together in this bowl. And for these biscuits I use two kinds of flour. I'm going to use some all-purpose flour, and I'm going to measure out 1 cup of that. And then to help give a little bit of a delicate structure, I'm going to use a cup of cake flour. Now, if you have trouble getting cake flour where you live, do go to our website because I have some substitutions on how you can make your own cake flour just by adding regular flour and some cornstarch together. So in my bowl, I've got a cup of regular flour and a cup of cake flour. So we're going to use 2 types of leavening in this biscuit. The first type is baking powder. I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. The baking soda is going to react with the buttermilk that we put in. A teaspoon of sugar and a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to use my pastry blender and I'm going to mix these dry ingredients together. The next thing we're going to add is butter. I have 5 tablespoons of butter and I'm going to cut this up into little cubes, and that will make it easier for me to cut this in. So I'm going to take my cubes, put it into the flour, kind of breaking them up, and then I'm going to use my pastry blender to break those bits of butter up. Now you can see how the pastry blender really helps break up that butter. And what I'm looking for is, I'm not looking for the butter to totally disappear. I want it to be about the size of peas, and that's about right, just like that. Now here I'm going to add a cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. And it's important that you use sharp cheese because it's got the biggest flavor, and when you're baking it in something like this you want to have the cheese to have a big flavor. And I'm just going to toss that cheese with the flour. You can see when the flour hits that sort of moist cheese, it helps disperse the cheese throughout that dry ingredients, and that'll make it really nice when we go to add our liquid ingredients. For our wet ingredients, we're going to be using buttermilk. That's going to react with that baking soda and help give these biscuits a nice lift as well. Now, if you can't find buttermilk where you live, again, on our website I have a little formula so that you can take regular milk and either some lemon juice or a little bit of vinegar to make a buttermilk, and it would work fine in this recipe. So I'm going to take the 3/4 of a cup and I'm going to put that in my bowl, and I'm going to toss this together. Now it's really important at this point that we not overmix this dough because we want these biscuits to be, really nice and light. So I'm just going to mix this together just until those dry ingredients get absorbed. I've gone ahead and preheated my oven to 450 degrees. We want our oven really hot because we want to pop these in the oven as soon as they're ready to go. Now with biscuits, you can either press them out and cut them out, or you could roll them into little balls, and that's kind of what I'm going to do today. So I'm just going to put some flour on my hands. I'm just going to pinch off, about a golf ball size piece of dough, roll it around in my hands, and then just place it on my baking sheet. It's important that you get the little balls of dough about the same size. That way they'll bake nice and evenly in the oven. And then the last thing I'm going to do before I put these in the oven is I've taken just a little bit more buttermilk and I'm just going to brush the tops with it. This buttermilk will just give them each a nice little glaze. Now I'm going to put these in the oven. I'm going to let them bake for about 10 to 12 minutes. Look at how nice and golden these biscuits are. Now I'm going to slide the parchment off this baking sheet because I don't want them to cook anymore. And then as soon as my soup is ready, I can go ahead and serve these cheese biscuits. Well, if you'd like to give these cheese biscuits a try at home, just go to our website and go to the Daily Bread show notes and I'll have the recipe there for you. And as always, if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll see you next time.